Okay, so you're probably thinking, the Falklands War. Really? Some islands way down south that most folks couldn't even find on a map. Why should I care?
Well, let me tell you, this one, it's more than just some history lesson. This is about international intrigue, political maneuvering.
Penguins.
Penguins, yeah, we'll get to those.
All right, sell me on this. What's the big deal with the Falklands War anyway?
This war, it was a clash of national pride, military might. Two countries, Argentina and the UK, going head-to-head over these tiny islands. But it wasn't just about the land.
It never is it?
Never. It's about history, identity, and the people caught in the middle.
So let's rewind a bit. How did this whole thing start?
Well, you gotta go way back, all the way to the 1800s. Argentina, they'd been claiming the Falklands, or Islas Malvinas as they called them, for a long time. But the British, they'd been in control since the early 19th century.
So this wasn't just a sudden squabble, huh?
No, sir, this was a long time brewing. And by the 1980s, things were coming to a head. Argentina, under a military junta, was struggling. The economy was a mess, people were unhappy. And then,
For Junta saw an opportunity.
precisely, General Leopoldo Galtieri, the leader, he figured a quick win, a little patriotic fervor that could be just the ticket to distract folks from the problems back home.
So they rolled the dice and invaded.
April 2nd, 1982, Argentine forces landed on the Falklands and took the capital, Stanley. Bold move.
And what was the reaction on the other side of the world? I bet Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady, wasn't too pleased.
You could say that again. Thatcher, she wasn't about to let this stand. She immediately put together a task force, a massive one. Warships, aircraft, thousands of troops.
Hold on, they sent this whole force how far?
8,000 miles, all the way to the South Atlantic. It was a huge logistical challenge.
Talk about commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the British forces all the way down in the Falklands. What was the scene on the ground?
Well, you've got the Argentine forces fighting Spirit in spades, but their equipment, well, it wasn't exactly top of the line. Up against them, you've got the British with their Harrier jump jets. Those things could take off vertically.
Those must come in handy down there.
Oh, absolutely. The Royal Navy, too, a well-oiled machine.
Sounds like Argentina had their work cut out for them. So where did those penguins come in?
Ah, yes, the Penguins. South Georgia, you see, the southern island.
Overrun with penguins.
Exactly. The British retaking South Georgia, that was a key turning point. It was a strategic foothold, you see. And yeah, it's kind of funny to imagine soldiers battling it out amongst all those waddling penguins.
I can picture it now. So after South Georgia, what happened?
Well, then it really ramped up. Air battles, naval battles, Harriers against Mirages. The Argentines had these Exocet missiles, really dangerous anti-ship missiles. They caused some damage. British Special Forces were conducting raids. It was a very intense time.
So it wasn't just some minor skirmish. This was a real, full-blown conflict.
Oh, absolutely. Both sides were fighting hard, showing real courage in a harsh environment. But the British, they had the upper hand. They landed on the Falklands, and the fighting, well, it eventually focused on Stanley.
The final showdown.
The Argentine forces in Stanley, they fought bravely, but they were outnumbered, outgunned. June 14th, they surrendered. The war was over.
A British victory, but at a cost.
Yeah, it was a tragic victory, no doubt. Over 900 military personnel dead, and civilians, too. A real reminder that these conflicts, they have real consequences.
What about the political fallout? What happened after the war?
Well, in Argentina, the junta's defeat, it sealed their fate. The military government collapsed, and democracy, it returned.
So the war really shook things up. And what about Thatcher?
Oh, she was cemented as the Iron Lady after the Falklands. Popularity went through the roof, image of a strong leader.
So these islands, these tiny islands in the South Atlantic, they had a huge impact.
They sure did. And the echoes, they're still felt today, especially in Argentina. The Falklands, they're a symbol of national pride, of loss. It's a wound that hasn't fully healed.
It makes you think about the folks living on those islands, caught in the middle. What's the lesson here for us, looking back on the Falklands War?
For me, it's a reminder that those seemingly small events, they can have massive consequences. We see the power of national identity, the human cost of conflict. It's a complex story, but one worth remembering.
Absolutely. Next time we hear about some territorial dispute, it's worth thinking about the Falklands, because it's not just about lines on a map. It's about history. It's about people's lives.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that peace, it's something we have to work for, to cherish.
Well said.